everybody, I'm Jonathan, and welcome to Damaged Darts. My son Chandler and I specialize in converting ordinary Nerf blasters into extraordinary Nerf blasters, and show you how you can do it too. Today is part 2 of a 3-part series of converting a Nerf Strife into this Fortnite Tactical SMG. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, just click the card here. Today we're going to be going through the paint job process of this, but before we get into that, if you like what you see on this channel, just click the icon in the lower right hand corner and subscribe. Well, let's do this. Alright, now we're going to get this thing prepped for painting. We're going to sand off all the warnings, instructions, the texturing on the handle. Let's see here, the Strife logo's got to go. Overall general sanding, and this large Nerf logo. Alright, so here is everything all sanded down, and now we're going to take it outside and give it a coat of gray automotive primer. Alright, here is the final result of all of the phase 1 of painting. I primed everything here, and as you can see, I did the flat black on the already black parts. It wasn't necessary to prime and then paint them there. These are the 3D printed parts and the saw and all. So now I've got all these blacked and pretty much ready to go, and then I'll be hitting these tomorrow with the, I'm just going to let them fully cure overnight, and then hit them with the flat black. Alright everybody, I've got everything painted with the flat black, and I've started taping things off here. I might do a little bit more taping here where the magazine feeds in, but then I'm also going to use a technique using some toothpaste to prep around some areas here before I lay down the top colors here of that brown and that light khaki that's on this gun to create that really worn chipped effect that's characteristic of the SMG. So I'm going to do that next. Alright, so now we've got almost all of our masking done. Chandler's working on finishing up the cover up on the handle and the top, because we're going to go ahead and paint that light khaki color first. So we're getting all of our masking done. Then we're going to be using toothpaste to create all the the blob areas, like right above here, let me see, right above this taping area. Well, we got to kind of have that worn look, that chipped, worn look above here. We're also going to be doing it down on the flip side here. We're going to be putting some toothpaste here and some spots here and there. And then what that creates is when we hit it with a coat of paint and let that dry, and then we can rub that toothpaste off, and we get that perfect chipping, paint chipping effect. So we're just going to go ahead and finish masking that off, and then we'll work on the toothpaste. Alright, so now I've got a little bit of toothpaste here, and I'm just going to use I got a toothpick here. I don't need that. I thought I might need to water it down, but the consistency is pretty good. I'm going to pull up a photo online. Chandler, why don't you pull that up, just so I can kind of take a look at this side. If you look at the images of it, you never really get this side, but I'm going to go ahead and start on this side first, because I do have that, and I'm just going to kind of wing it and use my creative imagination here on how I'm going to do the weathering on the other side of the clamshell here. So looking at this one, I'm going to kind of use actually the toothpick to kind of draw an area ideally of where this is going to need to go. Alright, got everything painted with that light khaki. Got some gloves on here. I'm going to take a damp cloth and just kind of wipe down these areas here that we put the toothpaste in hopes of getting that chipped effect we're looking for. That seems to be doing the trick. Sweet. And when you're doing this and you don't get all of the toothpaste, don't worry about it. It's just mainly loosening things up to where you get that chipped effect that you want, and then you can still seal that over. We're going to put a matte clear sealer over all this anyway in the end. So sound you guys hear in the background is our 3D printer. We have the we modeled the battery case cover. We had to remodel that to extend it a little bit to make room for the LiPo battery that we're using in this, so that's what's running right now. Alright, so now there appears to be some tally marks on this half of the clamshell. I'm going to go ahead and just use the tip of my my utility knife here and just kind of scratch carefully, hopefully it works, scratch away some of the paint here to create that tally mark. I'm going to try and just get the surface here. Okay, that seemed to do the trick for our tally marks there. Got a little bit of blue in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry this off, just filling in with a little bit of Sharpie marker for good measure. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of silver. As if it dug into the exposed metal. Then I'll go back over that with some black to kind of mimic this gun blacking underneath. There we go. Awesome stuff. Now I'm going to go ahead and peel off the tape from this and get it prepped for the other half of the painting. All right, everybody, there is the first phase one of the painting of the light colored khaki on the cradle. Unfortunately, I had a little crack in this one where the screw goes to mount everything. There's a lot of tension in that piece. I may just epoxy it back together, but chances are I'm just going to grab another strip of plastic, paint it black, bend it, just pop this off and re-epoxy another piece in. But hey, it turned out great, and this is a fast fix. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll head to the next part of the painting. All right, so now we're going to be laying down the next color, which is that kind of wood grainy laminate thing it seems to have going on this section here. So we've got it taped off. And then I'm going to use my trusty dusty toothpaste to just kind of dab along here to create that paint chipping that's along the lower part leading up into the paint job. So I'm going to start on this side. I've also got it taped off right here for just to kind of simulate that bolt, the bolt action section of the SMG here. I taped that part off because this little screw holds down there. It kind of looks like that bolt pull, and so I just taped that section off, so when I paint it, it should simulate that look really well. And then I don't know, I may later on 3D print a big round ball that'll slide over the end of this to enhance that, but for now I'm just going to go with this. So now I'm going to get that, pull up the picture here and get that toothpaste on. Okay, so I've got all the toothpaste done for that chipping on the bottom part. I'm going to hit it with that light brown, and then work on the wood grain texture after that. Okay, so now I've got the light brown painted on here. I still kept everything taped. Looks like some of my toothpaste is coming loose there. But before I take all this off and wipe it down, I'm going to go and create that dark wood grain. How I'm going to do this is I've got a dark brown acrylic that I've watered down considerably, and then I've got a dry brush here, and so I'm just I got a piece of paper here that I'm testing it out on too, and so I've got it just lightly loaded here, and I'm just going to kind of brush some wood grains on it. Looks pretty darn good right there. I think I'm gonna get a little more there, even though that's where the toothpaste is gonna rub off there. Top, back side, that looks pretty good. So now let's go ahead and let this dry for a bit, and then I'm going to take the cover off and wipe off all the toothpaste. Well, that seems to be pretty good right there with wiping off all the chips. Love the way that turned out right here. So now I'm going to be adding a little bit more of the dry brush here. All right, so I've got everything cleaned off, and now I'm going to work on kind of that gunmetal effect. I've started on this one right here. What I did is I took some silver rub and buff. There's the top of the can there. I took some silver rub and buff, watered it down just a little bit, took a bit of that, and mixed it with some black acrylic. The Metal Luster Deco Art Silver Rub and Buff is water-based, so like acrylic it is. So I just mixed it with a little bit of water, thinned it out. I've got a lighter silver, some black, and I'm just kind of mixing along, and then just using a dry brush and circling over this to give it that kind of gunmetal polish, just a oiled gunmetal look. It's turning out really great, and that's what I'm going to do with all the black parts here. Alright, so I've got all the dry brushing done. If you can kind of see here, it's got that nice oiled gunmetal look, and then I went a little lighter, a little heavier on the silver, and then used the smaller dry brush to kind of brush in all those rubbed areas on here. And then of course, as the picture shows, the barrel's a bit more silver than the rest of the gun, and that little tip is as well. So putting this together, you got something that looks like that. See, and then you get the silver, that dark, and then the silver. So that turned out great. I got the arches. See, you can really catch the oiled gunmetal look there. That's all the black. So I've got the light khaki, that wood laminate effect, and all the gunmetaling. One last thing I noticed is it's a little shiny on that bolt pull right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a silver Sharpie marker, and I'm just going to kind of color in this space right here, and then maybe go back over it with a little dry brushing of the darker silver. Alright, so I've got everything painted, and I have it all sealed with a matte clear sealer, and so that's ready to go. But before I assemble or start working on putting the electronics back in, I need to finish up these screws. I got these at the hardware store over in the specialty section. They are called aluminum threaded post. So threaded post with screw, aluminum 3/16 inch post. Because they come with this little, it's almost like a rivet, this backing, and then this screws into it. Well, I'm just using that front end to screw into this side piece, which is on the back end buttstock of the gun. The screw is going to go in right in there. No. Blast. It's going to go right in there, but I need these to be black, as well as these screws right here that I'm using to mount the barrel on the front end. So what I did is I took a sander and I sanded the tips off. I sanded the ends here and here just to kind of rough things up and get the finish off, so that I could use this Birchwood and Casey Aluma Black to, which is used for blacking gunmetal, to blacken the tips of these screws before I put them in. So all I got to do is just give it a little shake, and in fact I'm going to grab my rubber gloves here. I'm just going to apply it with my finger. I just need one glove really. So grab a glove. Okay, so I'm going to just take this Birchwood Casey Aluma Black and then just dab it on the ends of this and just let the chemical do its thing in creating, in blacking the metal. So I'm just going to dip my finger in here, get a little bit of the blacking on it, and just rub it on. You can even start, it almost instantly starts to work in creating that nice deep black. I'm even going to let it try and get into the slot there. Now these ones, being stainless steel, don't take the blacking effect as well as this aluminum does. In fact, I'm not sure that it does much at all. So what I'm going to do with these ones is I'm just going to go ahead and hit them with a little bit of flat black spray paint. Alright everybody, hope you enjoyed watching part 2 of our 3-part series of converting a Nerf Strife into this Fortnite Tactical SMG. If you haven't subscribed to our channel already, just click the double D icon below. You'll help us create more cool content for your enjoyment and inspiration. Also click the notification bell below so you don't miss out on any of our new videos. And be sure and tune in next Wednesday for part 3 when we take you through the process of modifying the internal electronics. Until next time, I'm Jonathan, and this is Damaged Darts.